2012 Chevy Traverse timing chain. First thing you need to do is disconnect your battery. It's under the floorboard in front of the right rear seat. And then you want to come and do your air intake tube. Take your air intake tube off. Get your 2 clamps, take the tube off. And then you want to take off your vacuum pump. There's 2 bolts holding the vacuum pump. Comes right here. The line goes to the vacuum booster. The other one goes up to the intake. Unbolt it, unplug it, take it off, set it on your bench. Take your evap tube off, take it off the back first. Got your little clip here, not really a clip, but you pull it off to the side, lift it off the back, swing it over, and pull it out. Cause it's on a special, only goes in one way. And you want to go over to your fuse box. Go to your fuse box, undo your nut. Take the 2 lines off. One goes to the starter, one goes to the battery. Undo those. Then you want to go around and push in with your screwdriver these little tabs. This ain't hitting nothing. This one's hitting something. There's one on the back side, a big one. Stick a screwdriver in this one and leave it there. Okay, that's a pain in the ass. And then you got this one here. And then there isn't one on this side. Okay, what it does is it clips into this one, and that one, and that one, and this one. This one's over here on the side. Okay, unclip it, pull it up. Undo your connector here, undo another connector down below. Undo that connector. Pull this thing up out of the way, bungee strap it up so it stays there. And you got this dumb bracket for it. You got a nut, and a bolt. Undo, take those out, they're 10 millimeters, pull it out. Go to your intake. Take out your nut for your intake, the bolts up to the manifold. And undo your clips. For your harnesses that clip into the manifold, they'll probably break, but you know, you'll get them up with your door panel tool or a pair of needle nose. Get the harness up, remove your 6 bolts for your intake. Undo your line for your evap. This other evap line. Unplug it. Unplug your throttle body. Give it a fucking little shake. Pull it up. Before you be pulling it up, make sure, even before you even loosen your bolts up for your intake, blow it off. It's probably full of mouse shit, mouse droppings. And then pull your intake up. Take it up out of the way. Get your gasket. Replace your gasket when you go back together. This is an expensive gasket. And then you'll have a bunch of droppings, whatever in here. Blow it off. Blow it off your coils. Take your 10 millimeters out of your coils. 6 of them, 6 coils. Pull them up a little bit. You can unplug them, plug them all, pull them out. Get your 6 coils out. And then you got this stupid insulator behind the, underneath the intake and throttle body area. Covers up the high pressure fuel pump. And it's held in with one 10 millimeter bolt. Take that one out, wiggle it out, kind of bend this up a little bit. Bend the AC up a little bit and be careful. Pull it out, got that out. All right. Then you want to come over here and you want to take out your overflow tank held in by 2 bolts. And then you want to undo your AC line. Got a little 10 millimeter bolt. Take it off, swing it underneath, push it off to the side. Go over here to this wire harness, undo your little, unfasten the clips from the bottom. two of them. One here and one there. Pry them out, and you can pull this thing up. All right, you got that up out of the way. That's up, that's up. Then you want to come over here and you want to do your dog bone motor mount. Oh yeah, forgot. Power steering pump. 210s on your power steering pump reservoir. A nut on the back and a nut in the front. Pull the pump up a little bit. Take your clamps off. Pull them off. Wiggle the hose. As soon as you wiggle this hose out, you're going to lose fluid. So if you get a sucker, suck out your fluid out of your reservoir first. And then pull the hose off and then stick it down inside this tube and suck up what's inside the tube. Power steering fluid's cheap, plus you're going to give them a little bit of a flush. And then when you're going to do the front one, do the same thing. Stick your tube down inside there and suck the fluid out. Then pull your reservoir out and on the way. And you want to go to your dog bone and take your 15s, 215s. Take them out. And you want to wiggle your dog bone out. Most of the time these are broke. Usually they're broke right in here. And this one's good. Just starting to split. Okay. Put that over off to the side. And you're gonna undo your upper radiator hose. You wanna undo the bottom, drain your fluid, and you can take your upper hose off. Get the upper hose off out of the way, and you wanna get this bracket out of the way. And also you wanna get this bracket off so you can get the valve covers off. You get this one out of the way, that one out of the way, and you get the valve cover off. I gotta go there and do that now. Okay, make sure you put your towel over your intake passages. Be on the safe side so you don't drop any dirt. Nuts and bolts in there. All right. Remove your two 15mm bolts on your bracket. One there, one back and the front. Okay, I got them loose. I'll take the bracket out of the way. And then you got two 10mm, remember, and this bracket, the power steering bracket. Got to take that off before you can get the valve cover off. There's two 10s, and you can get to them. Okay, two 10mm little bolts. Take them two out. Okay. Now you can do two to 18mm head ones on this big bracket. That one, and one in the front. I don't like wasting time when you watch me undo bolts. All right, get that out of the way, okay? Get that out of the way. All right. Now this coolant neck is in the way of the front cover. It's held on by two 10mm underneath the bottom. Don't forget they got them little plastic things in it, so one's still in there, so you don't want to double stack them. Okay. I'll put them in my tray in a bit. Okay, got those loose. Then you want to do is shake it, move it around so you can get it out. It'll come out. It came out. See? Come on. All right. Don't forget, get your front rear, your upper radiator hose. I think I told you to get that undone, but just take the whole thing out. Okay, it's in the way anyway. Okay, got this out. Okay, put that aside. Now we can get to the valve covers, but you might want to unplug your cam sensors and your solenoids, okay? Because the harness goes over the valve cover. So you want to unplug those, okay? plug them, get them out of the way. And we'll go from there. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't have the Kung Fu grip anymore. And these connectors are hard. What I'll do is I'll stick my screwdriver tip inside there and I'll pick that up. When you pick that up, you'll see the end move. And you pick it up and see the end move, pull on the harness, not the harness, but the connector, and pull it off. You can do that too for the sensors. I had to do it to every one of them. And you just, hopefully that helps you out. You can use a screwdriver or a curved, rounded pick. Some depends where I'm at. I get my hand in there. I do the screwdriver or the pick. Okay. Okay, you want to go around and undo all your valve cover bolts on the front one. And on the back one, you got to undo your harness for your coils from the valve cover. And then you want to, it's easier to pull the harness forward and get to the bolts behind it. Okay. And then you got your power steering line back here. Just push it up out of the way a little bit more. And on this side, you got to go all the way over to get to that far back one. Okay. And then just take your door panel tool, if you got a door panel tool or an angled screwdriver, and pry right up under here and right here. It should come up fairly easy. And you'll hear it, you know, when the gasket comes off and then it breaks loose. Same thing with the back one. If you don't have them all off, don't sit there and pry the heck out of it, thinking you got them all, and you missed one. You end up cracking the valve cover because they're only plastic. And then it ain't gonna go back together the same week. Okay, we'll get those out. And then, I don't know if I told you about the blowing the spark plug holes out before you get this off, because you're gonna wanna take the spark plugs out. So blow out spark plug holes before you take the valve covers off, because mine had some mouse poop in them. Okay, so you get the valve covers off and then take the spark plugs out. Okay. Okay, once you get your valve covers off and your spark plugs out, what you want to do is you want to go look at each lobe. Make sure they're nice and shiny and nice and smooth. Inspect them all, because you're here. Inspect them. Make sure they're all nice and shiny and good. But if they got grooves in them and felt like you've been grinding on it, then it's no good. And then you might as well put a cam in it too. So these all look good. So got my spark plugs out, and I'll take my sensors off, just to get them out of the way so I don't break them. And then now's the time to pull your solenoids out. Pull your solenoids. Hopefully I'm correct. You might want to take your belt off. Now's a good time to take your serpentine belt off. Okay. We'll do that. This is what they look like. They get little screens in them. Look at the screens, see if they're full of dirt. When you go back together, spray them with some brake clean, spray them off, clean them up, clean up the surfaces, put some lube on them before you go back in. To get them out is you want to grab hold of them like that, where the bolt goes, and twist them. Once they twist, then you can wiggle them out. Same thing with the sensors. Twist them. Once you got them twisted, twist them and pull them out. Careful you don't drop these or bang them against the side of the wheel well. Okay. Okay, what you need to do is support your vehicle, remove your tire. You're going to be going up and down quite a bit for now. And what you need to do is remove the tire, remove the inner skirt, and then remove your serpentine belt. Takes a 1/2 inch square drive. And then remove your harmonic balancer. Take the bolt out, it's a 19. And then you'll want to line up that you can get on there with your puller. Put your puller on there, it's a special one. It's the jaw type puller. The right length rod. Put it on there so it will pull out, and this will just miss the frame. It just misses it, okay? Otherwise you'll do that and it hits it. So it's just gotta miss it. Comes right by it. And then you can pull the harmonic balancer off. Then you wanna do your front motor mount lower nut, which is in that hole on the front, and then on the back is in that hole. You want to take those nuts off. And then you're going to put a block underneath the oil pan, and you're going to lower it down the block, and you're going to raise it up a little bit so you can get your tensioner and your idler and then your water pump. Take your pulley out for your water pump, take your water pump bolts out, take your idlers off, and then you can work your way around on top and take all the front cover bolts out, and then raise it back up, take all the front cover bolts off on the front. Doesn't look like the power steering pump has to come off, so you break it loose, you wiggle it, and then when you lower it back down, and then you take it out through the top, because you'll lower it down on the block and it'll make it wide open a little bit more for you. Okay, I got the motor mount lowered nuts off. I lowered the car down on a block. So take the idler bolt out so it's even with that AC clamp. Then you take the whole thing out. Got the whole thing out. Set it aside. And then you want to take your belt tensioner off. It takes 3 bolts. Got them loose. 1, 2, 3. Remember about these stupid plastic spacers. Okay. That one stayed in there. So, and take your water pump bolts off. There's 4 of them for the pulley. The pulley comes loose. If the pulley stays on there, smack with a little hammer and it'll come off. And then you need to remove the upper alternator bolt because it bolts into the front cover. So you want to loosen the nut. And then take your inverted Torx and unthread the bolt. Okay? So it's unthreaded, it's not sticking into the front cover. That won't hold you up. Now all I gotta do is take the water pump bolts out. But like on the front cover where you took the tensioner from, you should mark those 2 holes. And that one and that one. So you don't put a bolt in there when you're going back together by accident and you gotta take it back apart. So just put some paint around the holes so you know those are special ones. Okay, I'm gonna take the water pump off and then I'll start taking the front cover bolts out. Alright, I started at the bottom. I had to remove the power steering pump. The bolt right there. And then there's one on the back side. Where are you at? Can you see it up there at the tip of my end of my light? Okay, right there. And now there's 2 bolts. Take those 2 out. And look at that, there's the same bolt. I took all my bolts out that I could get to from the bottom. Usually straight across from the bottom of the water pump across. And remember that they got 2 of those black spacers, kind of like centers. They center the cover. So when you get the cover off, get your pick in there and pull all the extra centers out. There's 2 on each bolt. Some have them, some didn't. They stay in there. I try to pull them out with the bolt, with the threads, but some come out, some don't. Okay, from the water pump on down, I did them. And then I get to the ones on top when I lower it down. I'll lower it down to my block. I'm gonna jack the engine up. Get over here on this side, and then I can get in there a little bit easier. And then I'll break the cover loose and I'll pull the cover up through the top. There's a bolt behind the water pump. Can you see it? Right there, at the tip of my light. Get to that one from up on top. Get your hand down in there. Don't forget to pull that one out. You know, crack the cover. Okay. Okay, got all the bolts down on top. You got a 10 millimeter. It goes to the power steering pump return line. It's a metal bracket. That one goes in the backside above the water pump. Undo that one. We get about the 18. Can't overlook it because it doesn't blend, it blends in. Got all my bolts out the front cover. Yeah, I'll come over, double check, make sure I got all my bolts out of the front cover. I'll come over here to the side and I'll just pry out against the cam bolt and the cover, and slowly you can hear it comes loose. You know, and pull it out a little bit and work your way around. If you didn't have all the bolts, you wouldn't do this. So you just gotta work your way around it, because at the bottom there's kind of like a dowel. I'm pretty sure it's a dowel. So then, there it is. You got your pretty big gap. What you want to do is pull it up to the top. Yeah, when you get all the gears and chains and tensioners and guides out of the way, then you can clean up the surfaces and then clean it up, and then you can put the chains back on. So this is where we're at now.